Good morning, Jesus. Thank you for another day. Thank you for another morning. Thank you for holding life together in your hands, for being the sustainer, the keeper of everything that I see, everything that I don't see. And I thank you that you're the one who keeps my world, and you're the one who keeps me going. You're the one who holds it all. Everything that happens in life on the macro level and then on the micro level, there's no detail that's too small for you. You see everything. You're interested in everything. You're so specific and intentional, and you know better than I do. And I can be so arrogant and think that I know everything. Thank you, Jesus, for being the one who brings rest. You alone, Jesus. You are the one who gives rest. You are the one. I thank you that our rest is something that is from you. To take the load off, to sit and even recline, to not be worried, to just be at peace. I thank you that our rest and our peace is not contingent or dependent upon the absence of a storm, too. How much greater your rest than the storms that we face. I have confidence in my dad that I can rest when I'm walking through a storm. This is what you did, Jesus. You were sleeping in the midst of a great storm. Everyone else around you was freaking out. You knew. There's no need to accuse God of being unaware of the storm. And I know sometimes it might feel like he doesn't know, but we have to remember who we're talking about. What an unbelievable example you have set for us, Jesus. Unbelievable in the best way. You are so confident and convinced of the Father's goodness and his care for you. And you had no worry. You had no need to do that. I even remember when I was a kid, I could fall asleep anywhere. Didn't matter what was going on. If I was tired, I just was like, I'm going to sleep now. Doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter really what's going on around you. If you feel comfortable and confident enough that you'll be watched over and protected, you can rest anywhere. And here we are in this life with our God who loves so deeply and passionately. His protection, his care, his goodness is still beyond our wildest imagination. How sure are we that we can rest because of his presence and in his presence, and no matter what's happening around, can we rest just because we know my dad's watching. He's right there, and he won't let anything touch me that's of danger to me. make a point and intentionally tell you again today, you are our prize. You are priority number one. You are my chief end. You are the highest attainment of this life. Just to know you, just to be close to you, to be loved by you, to love you in return. This is what makes life worth living, not all of the other things that we fill up our days with. Some of these things can seem so important and they seem so urgent, and nothing and no one rivals you, compares to you. No one comes close, not even one. You are above all things. You are the dream. You are the gift. You are the prize. You are all in all, lovely and beautiful and wonderful and glorious and majestic and bright and shiny and full of love and full of grace and full of strength and full of honor and full of majesty and full of mystery and full of clarity. The complexities of this life, the simplicities of this life, they've all been birthed from you and who you are. And you are so much more. And more than anything in my life, you are my priority. You are the first place, first love. And I don't want to just live. I don't want to live on autopilot there. And I want to be one who makes a point to tell you, Jesus, just every day, each and every day. I won't live this day just with a sense of like, oh yeah, of course, Jesus is the most important thing. Check, I know that. No. Every day. Help me, Lord. But I want to be just so overfilling with thanksgiving and gratitude. And so sure of this, not sure, so, I don't know, the repetition is a gift. Again and again and again, day after day after day, I get to enthrone my King on the throne of my heart, where He has made it ever so clear that is His desired resting place. My heart, me, us, the King of Kings, the one who is above all things, the one who fills all things with himself. The one who life flows from, who love flows from. He has a desire and it's to find a resting place. And he has made it known. He wants it to be his creation. This is the craziest news and the most unbelievable invitation the world has ever known. But we kind of just pass it off and think like, yeah, I asked Jesus in my heart, and then the end, it's just crazy. Like I feel like we should be more like, oh my gosh, you know, like there's just so many, there's so many other things that we get more excited about. Like, not like ragging on this, but we get more into the giveaways, and like David Dobrik gives away a Tesla. Everybody freaks out, or oh, somebody's giving away some money, or I don't know, my brain goes to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and I gotta find a golden ticket. Everybody's buying chocolate bars, like their life depends on it in the movie. And then here's, it's just God, and he just, just wants to dwell with his people. It's like, no thanks. Let me go retweet Mr. Beast. Jesus, you are the prize, you are the goal, you are the destination, you are the journey, you are high and lifted up, you are glorious, you are beautiful, you are captivating, you are wonderful, you are merciful, you are kind. You shine so brightly. Would you afresh today make our hearts ache, that we might ache for your nearness, for your closeness, for your touch. Lord, would you, even in this way, man, I read a while back about how sometimes whenever our bodies get hurt, they can heal them properly, and it's this whole thing, and it's a longer story, and I don't want to get into it, but long story short, sometimes there's bones that have to be rebroken in order for them to heal properly. And I'm not even mentioning that for like a healing or like I'm not mentioning it for that, but I remember this guy saying sometimes, essentially, and metaphorically, the Lord will break our back. But in doing so, it makes every other kind of touch, like if your back is broken and somebody touches your shoulder or something, you might wince because you're in a lot more vulnerable place. Versus if you have if your back is intact, obviously a little poke on the shoulder is not really of that much, it doesn't seem like it's of that much danger, or it doesn't always mean you should divert all your attention oh man, what the heck is that? With a broken back, anything is just oh shoot, what the heck is that? And he was saying sometimes in being attentive to the Lord, it's a hard prayer. But even asking, Lord, would you break my back? I would rather live and move forward with my back being broken, not caring for what this world has and even just this life, but I'm so hyper fixated on the nearness and the closeness of God that I'd rather live with a broken back or with something that's of deformity in me, that I might be more sensitive to the touch of my Master. Are we willing? Am I willing to have my back broken so that I'm able to feel his touch better, or I'm more sensitive to his touch? What's more important to me, my health or his touch? Do I believe that my health is more important than a touch from the King, a touch from the one who my health comes from? I'm not saying everybody, let's go all break our backs. But sometimes I feel that's a good way to almost to measure where we are. What's more important? Jesus, would you make us those kind of people who would do anything to feel, to feel and to know and to have your touch and your nearness, to be those who don't stop reaching until we have touched you. This is Mark 5. It says, now a certain woman had a flow of blood for 12 years and had suffered many things from many physicians. She had spent all that she had and was no better, but rather she grew worse. When she heard about Jesus, she came behind him in the crowd and touched his garment. For she said, if only I may touch his clothes, I shall be made well. Immediately the fountain of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of the affliction. And Jesus, immediately knowing in himself that power had gone out of him, turned around in the crowd and said, who touched me? But his disciples said to him, you see the multitude thronging you, and you say, who touched me? And he looked around to see her who had done this thing. But the woman, fearing and trembling, knowing what had happened to her, came and fell down before him and told him the whole truth. And he said, go. And he said, daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your affliction. The scene here is crazy. I mean, a woman who's suffering with affliction for 12 years. Is that what it said? 12 years. 12 years. A blood flow issue for 12 years. Spent all she had with physicians, and it only made her worse. She grew worse. She hears about Jesus. If I can just touch his clothes, if I might reach out and touch him, I'll be made well. So she goes out with her blood flow problem into a huge crowd where the chances of her actually doing this and attaining this is probably slim. And she goes out, and I don't know, like, I think we read this like almost like we're watching it in a movie. Like, the scene is set up where like we see a crowd, and then there's Jesus, and then there's the disciples, and there's all this, and there's like this lady, and she just kind of happens to be where Jesus is, and then she's able just to like reach out and grab, and he's like, oh, who touched me? But then it's just like obviously her, because she's the only one around. And I'm sure that this idea, this thing that she was sure of, probably cost her a lot. It probably took a lot out of her. She probably had not her full strength. She probably got bumped around. She probably got pushed out of the way. She probably was ridiculed. And she was probably pushing and reaching for a while. Even like what the disciples say whenever Jesus says, he turned around in the crowd and said, who touched my clothes? And his disciples are like, what are you talking about? Do you not see all these people? The translation, wow, that was crazy. The translation that I just read was the New King James Version. That's the one, of course, that has the word thronging. This is ESV. And whenever Jesus says, "Who touched my garments?" this version says, "And his disciples said to him, 'You see the crowd pressing against you, and yet you say, who touched me?' And then Jesus looked around to see who had done it. So he's like the center of a mosh pit. And there's a whole perimeter of people, and they're surrounding him. So much so that anybody could touch him, and it would almost be like undiscernible. Indiscernible? It wouldn't be discernible who touched him at the time. The only reason there's any kind of awareness of this is because he's Jesus and he knows things. This was probably a long time it took her to get to Jesus. I don't think that she just waltzed in and pranced over to him and just touched his garment. This was probably an all day, all of her strength, everything she had, last ditch effort to go see the one that she believed could make her well. When she heard about Jesus, she thought, if I might just touch his garment, I will be made well. And I just think in this story, like if she had gotten to the place, even to get to the place where he was, probably was a task in and of itself. But then when you get there, when she got there, she didn't settle to just stay in the outer rim. She made her way where he was and touched him. And I think sometimes we get tired of reaching. I think sometimes we think it should happen for us right away. In prayer or just in our sense of awareness of him in our day-to-day. And it's something that is learned through time together. Time with him, but we have to wait upon him, and we have to reach out for him until we touch him. Like there's so much about this story. There's just so much there. It's like, why couldn't Jesus have just been aware of her intention to touch him and then just like made her well, you know? Like Jesus would roll up on the Pharisees, and there's so many places, it's hilarious, where the Bible is like, and he perceived their intentions and he perceived their thoughts, and he starts answering things that they're thinking about in their mind, and he's like, hey, blah, 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 like he just starts answering their little remarks that they're making in their head, or their little comments. Why here could he not have perceived a woman who has been dealing with this affliction for years? Why couldn't he just perceive the issue and just heal her? And I think it's because he wants this sense of closeness. He wants this nearness and this tenderness to happen. She touches him and he says, who the heck did that? And the people around her, the closest people to him even, they're like, what are you talking about? And she falls on her face and she's trembling. And then they share a moment. And I almost think it was just, he wanted that. He just wanted a moment. Say, daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace. And I just do you think that made a difference in her life? I don't know that we get, I don't know that if we get much more on this person, if we get any more ever. I don't remember in the Bible if we get anything else on that woman. But I just can't imagine. She had an issue for 12 years. She spends all she has trying to fix it. It grows worse. Nothing fixes the problem. She hears about Jesus. She pushes and pushes and makes her way. And she reaches out until she touches him. She touches his garment and she's healed. And then he stops and he speaks to her. And he calls her daughter. And they have a moment and he says to go in peace because her faith made her well. Do you think that might have had an impact? I do. I can't, I don't believe that meant nothing. And these are the things, these are the moments that are to be guarded and cherished and held ever so closely to our hearts. These are the history-building moments with God that sustain the life of the believer. We have to touch him. We have to reach out. Until we've touched him. It won't work just being around the place that he is or being around the people that have touched his garment. It might be a band-aid for a wound for a minute. That can't last. We have to call out to him set time aside and prioritize Him, and we will find Him. He will be reached. This is the thing. I hear people talk, and I don't know that we are convinced that we will find Him when we look for Him all the time. We must believe what He said. His word is truth. The rest are lies. And He will not put us to shame. Jesus, would you help us in our belief today to believe that You are that You are. You are the great I am. You are the Ancient of Days. Wonderful, amazing Jesus. I pray that You would set our hearts on fire today. Not in the summer campy way, and not in the way that's just like as a distraction to some painful thing going on, but a real burning fire that says, I love Jesus above everything else in my life. I'm convinced that He loves me, and that I will find Him when I seek Him with all of my heart. Yes, that. Help us to believe that faith that's simple, like a child that dives in head first to the deep things of God. Those are for us, and we can have them because You've made it simple. You've made what is complex to be simple, and the simple to be complex. Your way is above, and we need You to see those things and to understand and to have them. And above anything else, we need You desperately. I need You more than I could ever realize. And I have You. more than I currently realize, and maybe than I ever can. But I want to know it more, Lord. And live like that's my reality, because it is. Thank You, Jesus. Thank You for another day together. I hope you know truly, Lord, You are priority number one on this day and the rest of the other days. You hold the highest place. And there's so many things that scream out, look at me, look at me, look at me in this life. But You are the one. You are the beautiful one. You are the glorious one, the one who's deserving of my attention, of my affection, of my love. And so today, while it's still called today, I pour it out at your feet. I give it to you. Here's my love, Jesus. Here's my attention. Here's my adoration. Here's all I have, all the love in my heart, every ounce, every drip, every drop, all of it, everything that I have. Here you go. Here you go. It's all for you. You deserve all of this and so much more. Thank you for loving me, Jesus. I love you back. And we all, me, and we all just tell you, we love you too, Jesus. And I pray all these things in your wonderful name. Happy Sunday. See y'all later.